Don't put that in the video, Chester. Please don't put that in the video. 2023 BMW M3 Competition. Got that very controversial front end happening. Let's see what she's like. So we got 510 horsepower, straight six, twin turbo. It's lacking a bit of noise, to be honest. If you come around the back here, like it sounds good, but I don't know if it's as loud as it should be. So let's take it for a drive. A really nice BMW key here with little things on the side. That's cool. Dripping in carbon fiber and sports car trimmings. The seatbelt automatically adjusts itself when you start the car, which is kind of cool. We've got a few modes, M1 and M2. The guy that I got the car off says don't go into M2 because that's crazy, apparently. Some exhaust noise as we take off. Yeah, it just tugs the seatbelt tight as you take off, which is kind of cool. Yeah, she's pretty rapid, this thing. 510 horsepower from that straight six is sent to all four wheels with BMW xDrive, which is just really nice. Like, it's a wonderful system that never seems to like squirrel or chase the power. Like, it's very confidence inspiring in the way it puts its power down. But I don't know if an M3 should be four-wheel drive. Like, it's awesome, but it's never ever gonna hurt you. And I feel like it'd be nice if it would just be a little bit scarier. You can turn it off in drift mode and you can put it into rear wheel drive only. So that's pretty good. But yeah, I don't know about the four-wheel drive. God, the roads here are terrible. Yeah, she's pretty full on, this thing. It sounds good, but a lot of that is pumped in through the sound system, unfortunately. Something to do with European emission standards. You can't have too much exhaust noise, unfortunately. I was giving it some thought, this BMW, because it's lovely. Obviously, the inside's beautiful with these seats and all the carbon fiber, and it's very comfortable, but it's not super nice to be in for a really long time. Like, the seat bolsters are very aggressive. Like, I'm not the skinniest of guys, but I find these seats pretty narrow, at least in the base. The back's not too bad, but the base is kind of tight. Yeah, it's not great to be in. Like, I drove it from Sydney down to Mittagong and I was starting to feel it a little bit. But yeah, you can adjust the levels of the gearbox, you know, make it tighter or more gentle in its shifts. You can adjust everything, suspension, steering. You can actually see what you've adjusted to with these buttons here. So I've got like steering in sport, suspension in sport, comfort, speed sport, suspension sport, steering comfort, brakes comfort. You can change everything on these. It's pretty unreal. I don't know, is it a bit much? Is it too many options? That's what I'm sort of starting to feel with this car. I feel like a BMW M car should just be a little bit mechanical. And I think because this is the M3 Comp, they've kind of gone overboard. But I think the regular M3 with a manual, I can't remember how much power it has, but it has the same motor, would probably nearly be the better buy. You just get a little bit more simplicity and a little bit more sort of just a driver's car. This car's got electronic power steering, so you don't get much feedback through the wheel, and it's a little bit vague when you steer. Like, the steering is very precise. It's not like it's talking to me at all. I can't feel what the front wheels are doing until the car sort of moves, which is a bit of a weird feeling. Steering wheel mounted paddles too. Don't know how I feel about those. They're okay, but I would much prefer them column mounted. It's fine when you normally drive, but if you put it into drift mode, for example, and you chase some big angles, you're gonna find yourself looking for those paddles, and that's pretty annoying. But no, I really do like the car, but I don't think it's targeted well. I think it's too firm to be a Grand Tourer, and it's not giving me enough feedback to be a proper sports car. So I don't rightly know where it sits, is the only thing I'm having issue with. By itself, wonderful, but is it a proper M car? Hard to say. Got a lovely heads-up display that gives you like the speed limit and everything, your current speed. It'll put your navigation up there, it'll put your audio up there, it does everything. Like, it's really good. Wow. Hell. Yeah, 0 to 100 in 3.9 seconds, I'm pretty sure, and it is, yeah, it's rapid. The thing that was very interesting about that is it pulled harder as it got sort of above 60, 70. Like, it really really took. I'm gonna go this way. It really took off above there, which is interesting to me. But yeah, it's a wow. Yeah, it's a hell of a car, this thing, man. I think if you just shut up and you just enjoy it, it's fabulous. But if you think about it too much, you overanalyze it and you don't have a good time. When I first drove it, I was trying to like be a dick about it and trying to like super analyze it and trying to pretend like it was not good. And it's wonderful. The only thing I can really detract from it, well, there's a few points. Seats aren't very comfortable and the interior is very, very loud. When you sit in here, if you sit in here all day, you're gonna go deaf. Like I was having a phone call with a friend of mine earlier, really struggling to hear him over like, well, I wasn't struggling to hear him, but I had to yell at him over the road noise. It's loud. And the ride is very firm. Even in comfort, it's firm. But if you just shush and you find a quiet road and you give it a hoon, it's great. So I suppose if that's your thing and you like to drive a car fast, M3 Comp, absolutely for you. Because in Australia, of all the German cars, BMW is supported the best. It's the one you want to buy. It's the one that's gonna give you the best sort of user experience. Apparently Audi and Mercedes are not great with that. But it's not the best car, I think, if you just want to get in the car and chew up a 5-hour drive and listen to a podcast. It's too firm for that. So it's cracker, unbelievably good if you want to, if you have a hooligan in you, I suppose is probably what I'm trying to say. If you're 12 years old, yeah, it's fantastic. And if you're any older than that, buy a regular M3 with a manual gearbox. I drove this from Sydney to Mittagong and now I've driven around and I've only used a quarter of a tank. And I haven't been driving it the most economically either, so that's pretty good for a 510 horsepower straight six. You do feel every bump and you hear every bump, and it is a little bit firm in that sense, but it's not unpleasant, it's just noticeable is I think what it is. Like I don't feel like my feelings are about to come out, but also I'm not getting all of the bumps soaked up smoothly like some big coil sprung 4-wheel drive. Has plenty of driver safety features, like all of this self-driving and whatnot. It will literally drive itself down the highway for you if you ask it nicely. Not really my thing, but it's very good. Like it's very relaxing because it'll steer for itself. It has radar guided cruise. It's got pretty much everything. Like the interior is very nice. It's very well put away. I like you got a charging pad down here for your phone, a couple cup holders, whatnot. But I like that you can hide it all with the carbon fiber and you don't have to look at it. You can just have a simple, clean look. Yeah. The only thing is it does kind of rev hang a little bit. Like when you come out of the throttle, it stays there just for a minute longer than I would kind of like. But that is really splitting hairs. I was talking with my friend about it and we were talking about this compared to something like a Ford Mustang, which this is $160,000 in Australia for one of these new, whereas a Mustang's 90K. Is this better than that? Obviously it's a BMW, obviously you get a nicer quality interior, but you don't get much more horsepower and you do get a lot more stress. Like I'm a little bit worried as I drive this around that someone's gonna key it or something like that, or you know, someone's gonna pull out and I'm not gonna see him, and because it's a BMW, it's gonna be hard to get bits for. But yeah, on its own, wonderful. Up against the competition, different question. It's definitely more like sporty than an Audi, and the Mercs are a bit like a muscle car. But I suppose it's all about what you want. If you want the sportiest one, it's the M3. But if you want something a little bit more touring basis, probably the Audi. And if you're Lebanese, you're already going to buy a Mercedes, so who cares? You're already going to buy a C63 AMG, and that's going to be what it's going to be. So I suppose you're buying the BMW because you're an enthusiast and you like cars, and in that case, it's wonderful, and you're probably going to be very happy with this and the compromises that it comes with. Just needs to be louder, and it's just not loud enough. My BMW, I should be sitting right behind him and flashing my lights. Actually, that's what I'll do. I'll get really nice and close. That way she knows I'm the BMW driver and I'm better than her, and I'm probably on the way to some important business meeting, and I've got, you know, phone calls to make and mistresses to attend to, and, you know, fake Rolexes to buy, and all of that sort of stuff, because I'm a BMW owner. Yeah, it really is a completely different animal when you stand in it. But you should really put it in sports mode, that way it knows you're coming. Yeah, it's really the home of the BMW, this place, as I was saying, because it's like, you know, refined. What was I saying? Lovely part of the... I'm not even going to do that. Don't add that in. It's not relevant. And don't add that part where I got told I was a by old mate. Because I was, and I was definitely driving too fast. But anyway, it's the car's fault. It just encourages you to be a kid. And now I'm kind of lost, if I'm being really real. I think the main takeaway from this thing is it's awesome. Like, everything about it checks a lot of boxes. Plenty of room in the back, plenty of room in the boot, plenty of all of that. It just needs to be a little bit more, a little bit shoutier, a little bit looser in the back end. And you do get a bit bold. I can see why BMW drivers are, because you go, well, I can just shoot that gap. Like, I'll get in there, no worries. And you kind of lose your driving courtesy a little bit, because the car lets you exploit those holes too much. Yeah. Come on. Mustang Mach-E. God, those are ugly. Oh, yeah. Ugh. Yuck. God, I hate that thing. I'm really not a fan of electric cars. They're just white goods at this point. Like, this thing, cool. Bit of personality, bit of spice. Kind of encourages you to be a bit. That thing, ugh. What a car. I'm gonna see if I can pull out like a normal person without getting into the throttle too much. Yeah, that was very mature of me. Like the owner of this car should be. He should be 50 years old, not, you know, in his 20s. After driving this thing for the day, I really like it, but I feel like it's not loud enough and it's far too firm in the ride. I feel like you could probably get more out of a Mustang for, you know, $90,000 instead of $160,000, which rides a bit better. Like, I know it's not got the back seats, but it's 99% of it without being 160 grand.